Well, we have beef shin, shank. If you've ever eaten a steamship round at an affair, that's that huge piece of meat that sits a few feet tall on a table, and they hold the bone at the top and then they slice a little bit. Well, that part of the bone, the shank there, this is where that comes from. Unless this is from the front of the animal. So anyway, but if you notice, this is a very tender piece of meat, great to chew after we braise it. We're going to season the beef, dust it in flour, saute it in butter or oil or a combination of both. Take the meat out, put the vegetables in, which are not going to be strained. That's why I dice them nice so they look good in the finished sauce later. The thyme, that much, I'm not measuring it, so take a good look at it. That's fresh thyme. And after it's cooked, the stem you could take out very easily. A couple of bay leaves, some dry red wine, and some beef stock. So it's a relatively easy preparation, as long as you have some nice ingredients to give it flavor, and I think we have that here. So let me get started. Well, I have a moderate flame. The oil's in there, or like I said, oil butter or just plain butter, but the butter will brown. But if you like that flavor, that's fine. And a little salt and pepper, my mix. On both sides. And I tried to find two pieces in the beef section that were very close in size. And dusting means to place it in flour. Like so. I hate using my hands, they all get, and like this. The flour is going to act like a roux in the sauce. Also, the texture of the meat, it'll look better. Then you just shake it and saute. So we do it with the other piece, which I'm going to put right in there. And then you cook it slowly. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, till both sides are nice and golden brown. Well, it's been about 5 minutes. Oops. And let's just take a look. Nice brown color, get some more color. Notice how large the pieces are now? Well, they're not that large when we get finished cooking them. So don't worry, it's not that much. By the time these are finished, maybe half the size. And use a pan that the items that you're cooking just fit in. Not too large of a pan, not too small of a pan. Liquid will be going in here, the vegetables, and then it's going to have a lid on it. It's going to work out just fine. A few more minutes and then I'll turn them. Well, it's smoking up a little. That means it's nice and hot. We'll turn this. I'm going to cut that right at the end there, which will allow the meat to flatten out a little. This piece is working fine, but this piece, see, you just cut it right there. And there, and let it takes care of that little problem. A few more minutes, take it out, put the vegetables, and then we'll get it going. Okay. That's brown enough. Now we quickly get the vegetables and put them in there, and it'll deglaze the pan somewhat. I'm not putting any more oil in there. I just don't want any more fat. This will what'll happen is the liquid from the vegetables will come out. And there, I forgot the garlic, so there it is. And we just sweat this up. Now I'm going to change up this recipe just a hair and explain why. I just saw in the refrigerator sour cream, and if I don't use the sour cream, because it was used 2 days ago in a recipe that my wife made, it's going to go bad, and we're not going to eat straight sour cream. So we're going to call this beef shank stroganoff. So the only difference is we're going to put some vinegar into the cooking process here, which goes into this smetana sauce that's used for making stroganoff, and sour cream at the end. So the way I see it, we're going to come out with a tastier dish. Sweat this up. That'll take a few minutes. Now I'm going to add the red wine. This will deglaze it a little bit. See, as you scrape it, everything comes off. The wine helps in the color, and the deglazing picks up all those little brown pieces of the flour and beef. Now I'll add the beef stock. Don't use dry stuff. Get a liquid beef stock, and don't get something that says low sodium, because it doesn't have any flavor. But then again, maybe you don't want the salt, so it's all up to the individual. Now we can add more of this later, and a little bit of tomato puree. And we're going to watch how this cooks down. We're going to put in the vinegar also. All of that is just going to cook down, and the flavors will just blend together. And now we just have to add the meat. And allow this to just simmer away. And I'll be back in I'm going to come back in an hour. Don't lie. About a half hour, I'm just going to check the amount of liquid that's in there. This is not to rapid boil. This is to cook ever so slowly. Get those pan juices in there. Because rapidly cooking it is not going to quicken the time that it takes to cook this. Now that it's coming to a boil, just put it on a simmer cover it with a tight lid. That one just happens to fit there very nicely from another pot. And go away. I'll see you in a half hour to 45 minutes. Well, it's been a half hour, so I couldn't wait 45 minutes. And what I'm going to do is turn this without making a mess. That's all I can do right now. So after 1 hour of simmering away, that meat is still very tough. That means we're going for another hour. So now we're looking at 2 hours have elapsed. And we'll see how this is. You know, when the fork goes in and comes out easy, that's the, I want to taste the piece very badly, but I don't want to ruin it. Now, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to taste the piece. My dog's going to love this bone. Now the amount of sauce that's in there is too much for the meat, so we'll reduce it. And then you see a lot of grease on there. I'm going to pick out the stems, which is no problem, and the bay leaf. It smells great. We only want to have enough so this will reduce and become stronger. That's what we need. And since it's still watery, I have a choice of putting in flour or cornstarch. Now, a roux is flour and fat. As you can see, I don't know if it's noticeable, the shininess on the top, that's the fat. So I could take a little bit of flour, whisk it up in water, and just add it to this, which I will do because with the sour cream it's going to and the flour, it's going to turn this a lighter color, which it should be for the stroganoff. So this little piece of meat here, great. That is cooked and tasty. So to this, let this reduce until it comes down to about a cup and a half. So we'll let this, cut the film off right now. And when it gets down to what I like, we'll finish up. The addition of flour is not necessary. A sauce only has to do one thing. is coat the back of a spoon. If you notice, there it is. And the amount of flour that was on the meat acted as the roux, and this has nice body now. I'm just going to let that simmer. That took about 10 minutes to reduce, and that's fine. A little piece of stem. Notice it's not watery. It's just right for a sauce, because a few minutes on the plate, when the sauce cools off, it gets even thicker. So you don't want to have glue on your plate. Okay, so now we will get the amount of, just take a look at, it's not very deep, as you can see, and there, all the vegetables are nicely just holding in the sauce. Now we're going to add the sour cream. Now for the sour cream, and after the sour cream is blended very nicely into the sauce. Now as I was tasting the juices, I noticed that the amount of vinegar had to be increased, which is on the recipe. It's a very important item in making what they call smetane sauce. Now look at that consistency. That is really nice. And now I'm going to place the meat back in there and just wait for my wife to come home, and we're going to enjoy this. Very nice, just right. So, just put the meat back in. I'll take the smaller portion this time. Leave it like so. Yeah, I pulled it off the bone, which I didn't want to make a mess, but I did. Anyway, you know it's nice to have this with? Maybe some broad noodles. Anyway, that's it. Alright, I might as well just put one piece on a small plate, put the sauce over it, so you get an idea of what it's going to look like with the sauce over it, how the sauce just is going to lay there perfect like that. Enjoy this recipe, you will like it.